Hello! Back to Eco Art with Mary. Today we are going to make G.O.O.S paper notebooks, and this is what they look like when they're done. Let me show you one. That is the front of the notebook. That is the back of the notebook. And you can see the inside of the notebook, and you can see the back has stuff on it, but not the front sides. Oh, I did a decoration on the inside cover. Here's another G.O.O.S paper notebook of a different size. Got my moose on the front, a mountain scene on the back. So that is what we are learning how to make today. So you know, when we do Eco Art with Mary, we learn, we create, and then we share. So let's start with the learning. You know that helping the planet, to help the planet, the things you can do are recycle, reduce, and reuse. But I want to talk about a fourth thing you can do, which is refuse, another R word. What you can do is refuse to buy presents. Now, I know you want to give presents to people because it's so wonderful, but you can make them. The reason it's better to make them rather than buy them is when you consume and you buy things, that takes energy it takes resources and energy. It takes resources that go into the thing that you're buying. It takes energy to make the thing you're buying. It takes energy to put a package on the thing. It takes resources to put a package on it and then deliver it to the store where they're going to sell it. So it takes a lot of things, energy and resources to make things. But it's great if you can refuse to do that and use things that are old, that you already have, that you would probably be recycling. And that's what the G.O.O.S paper notebook is. All right, so that's learning how we can help the environment. Now let's talk about creating. So you're gonna need some materials for this. So I'm gonna put up the list so you can pause it and collect them. You'll need cardboard. Thinner cardboard is better. I used a shoebox, you can see that. G.O.O.S paper, 8 pieces. And that G.O.O.S again means good on one side. There's something on one side and there's nothing on the other. Scissors, glue. You could use tape if you don't have glue. A stick like this, just a stick that you can find outside. Rubber bands. You can get these from newspapers. You can get them off vegetables. Rubber bands like this. What do we have next on the list? A hole punch, and if you don't have a hole punch, we can get around that. I'll show you a different way to make the hole. And a ruler if you want, but not necessary. Black marker for sure. Sharpie or just a felt tip marker. And old magazines or old calendars for images to put on the cover and the back. But also a choice is, rather than collaging on an image, you can do a drawing, and I have examples of that later. So that's all the supplies we're gonna need, and let's move into what we do. All right, so you have 8 pieces of G.O.O.S paper. Here's my stack of G.O.O.S paper. You're going to cut it in half, cut all of them in half, and then cut them in half again. So I found that just doing 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces is the easiest. If you get more than that, it kind of gets sloppy. So I've got my 4 pieces, and I'm gonna fold it in half long ways, get it even on the edges. I'm gonna do that and then show you. See, my edges are even. Now I'm gonna take my scissors and simply cut those 4 pieces in half. And I'm cutting right along the fold line. All right, so now I have halves. Then I'm gonna fold each half again. There's one, and then I'm folding this one again. Make sure your edges are nice and even so your rectangles that you end up with are even. Now I'm just gonna slide my scissors through here and cut on the fold. Take those apart so I have all the blank sides together. And I am cutting this again. So now what I have is my paper that goes inside my notebook. All right? So now I've got my stack of paper. And the next step is to put holes in it. On one edge, you're going to put a hole through the whole stack here and here. And that's what your rubber band is going to go through from the back and attach to the stick. All right, so the way to do the holes is you start with one of your pieces. Got my one piece. You take your hole punch, and about 1/2 inch from the edge and from the top, I'm going to punch a hole. And I'm going to do it down here too. So now I've got my model of what I want. So then I take a few pieces and I put my model on top of it like this. And you can see where the holes are of the top sheet, and I'm going to punch right on top of that. So I get 3 or 4 other ones punched. And you do that until your entire stack of paper has holes in it. So then you are ready to go with your inside of your notebook, okay? The next step is the cover, and this is the really fun part. So you have 2 choices for the cover. One, you can do collage, and for collage you're gonna cut out magazine or an old magazine images or images from an old calendar. I'm using an Ocean Conservancy calendar that I have, and you can do that for the cover. Or you can cover completely the cover, or you can only cover a section of the cover with the image, however you want to do it. Or for the cover you can do a drawing. But before we get into decorating the cover, we have to create it, right? So, to our thin cardboard. If you only have thick cardboard, like an Amazon box, that works too. The thinner cardboard from a shoe box is just a little bit easier to cut. So you take a piece of cardboard, and what you're going to do is you're going to put one of your small pieces from the inside, you're going to set it on top of your cardboard, and then you're going to draw around it. But when you're drawing around it, you can notice I left some space around the edges. I didn't draw around it completely. There's a little bit of space. So the reason I did that is when the cover is on the outside, it completely covers the inside paper, and it just looks nicer. If you really want to have the cover go right to the edge, you can have your line go right to the edge. All right, so what I have is this. Then I cut this out and I lay it on top of another blank area. I draw around it exactly because you want both the back and the front to be the same size, and you cut it out. So now you have a cover. Now you have 2 pieces of cardboard that will create your cover. All right. So to do that, you want to think about, okay, I'm going to make a cover. I'm going to give this as a gift, or maybe you can keep it for yourself, which is fine. And think about the person that you're giving it to. What do they like? If you were giving it to me, I love the ocean, so I thought about an ocean theme for mine. And my ocean theme, I looked at a calendar that had a lot of ocean pictures in it. And here's an example of an ocean calendar page. And I took my cover, my cardboard cover, and I laid it right on here, and I drew around it with a black Sharpie. Okay, now what I would do is I would cut that out. So what I have is an image that'll lay right on top of my cardboard cover. And what you end up with is, where's my example? Here it is. What you end up with, this is a work in progress. This was a bird theme. Mine, I did an ocean theme, so I put an otter on the front and a sea lion on the back. But if your person likes birds, you could do, this is a rosette spoonbill, and you can see I wrote what it was on the inside cover in case they were interested. And then on the back, I did a goldfinch, which I wrote right there too. And I forgot to point out, on my ocean theme example, I decided to go ahead and do a collage on the inside cover with a sea turtle and a sea star. And you could, I think I left my back cover blank, but you could do a collage in there, or you could do a collage for the cover and not have it have your image completely cover. That works too. So once you have your image that you like, you cut it out, you take your glue stick, and you glue it on. Now, if you want to do a drawing instead of gluing an image on, I will show you some examples. If you're choosing to do a drawing, I highly recommend keeping it simple. Just use a black Sharpie. Keep it in black and white, because on cardboard, if you do color, like colored pencil or marker, it tends to dim the color a little bit. And what I find is that just something bold with black and keeping it simple makes a great cover of a sketchbook. Okay, to the examples. Okay, here are some simple ways to decorate your cover. You can do the initial first letter of the person you're going to give it to. So here's a K. And you draw a fancy letter just in black and then fill it in with some Zentangle patterns. Here is the entire alphabet. If you want to get ideas of letter shapes, I'm going to zoom in so you can see some of the Zentangle patterns, or the way that the letters were decorated. You can just do simple stripes, dots, vines. Here is the alphabet in puffy, fancy letters. Here's the alphabet in more, I don't know, fancy lettering. And this is the alphabet in lowercase letters. Another option for the cover is to pick an animal, like an owl, if you think the person you're going to give it to would like that, and draw that. Here are some more owl ideas. And here is an instruction with 4 steps on how to create a very specific owl. Now you could just do a nature scene, like I've done here in this example, the ocean with a sunset. Here's some more nature examples. And there's Norbert, my assistant, helping me while he's taking a bath. Okay, so lots of choices for your G.O.O.S paper notebook cover. If you want to do something completely different than I did, fabulous, do it. Okay, one thing that I forgot to tell you is if you don't have a hole punch and you want to make your holes, what you do is you fold a little bit over, maybe about a ½ inch, like this. Make it as even as you can. So you see how I folded that over. And then you take your scissors and you cut 2 triangles, and I'm going to show you. And that creates a space. You can see how I cut the triangles there. There's 1 triangle there and 1 triangle there. And then when you open it up, you have a diamond, which you'll do on all the inside pieces, and you'll do the same on the cover. You'll just, even the cardboard's stiff, you will be able to fold it over about ½ inch and then cut your triangles. And that way it creates space to get your rubber band through. All right, so the rubber band step. This is the trickiest step and it takes some patience. So prepare yourself. All right, I have my bird-themed rosette spoonbill. I took all my sheets of G.O.O.S paper, and on this one I went long ways, so I put the holes because it looked better with my image. So I put my holes on the short side of the paper instead of up here like the other one. All right, so I've got my holes of my paper. I put the back on the back, cover on the front. Now when you do this, you might find that you cannot see through. There's not an open space. So what I did was I took a pencil and poked it through. I'm poking it through here like this until I get my holes kind of lined up. You can see that hole is not lined up very well, so now I'm gonna kind of poke it through there. You can see my pencil coming through there. There's my pencil coming through there. So now you can see my eyeball through there. My holes are pretty much lined up. All right, so the next step is the rubber band step. And the rubber band is what binds your cover and your inside sheets of paper. So I'm gonna take a rubber band like this. This is a pretty stretchy one. Actually, I'm gonna use this one. You can decide what size you need based on about how big your notebook is. So this rubber band is about right. Loose, it's gonna stretch a bit to get around the stick. So what I do is, starting from the back, where my goldfinch is, I take the top of my rubber band and I push it through that top hole as much as I can. And it might be tricky, so now you're gonna see what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take my pencil and I'm gonna push it through a little bit. I'm gonna force it through, like that. Now I'm gonna grab it on this side, boom, I got it. So you can see I have my rubber band through. So now I'm gonna hold that with this finger, pull it down, and push it through the other end. Now this is where it gets really tricky, because you're stretching your rubber band while you're pushing it through. So I'm gonna do it down on my knee, and you won't be able to see it, but I'm getting it through, holding it, and I'm using my pencil to push it through as much as I can. And you might have to ask for help for this step, but I think you can do it. All right, now I have both ends of my rubber band through, and I'm holding it so it doesn't disappear. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna stick my stick through those loops. There's through one loop. And through the other loop. There we go. And this stick, I'm gonna push up a little bit so it's a little more even. And there I have it. So there's my notebook. And it opens and stays together nicely. And I could do my drawings or sketches or anything that the person that you're giving this gift to wants to use it for. All right. So we have our G.O.O.S paper notebook, again, in any kind of different theme you want. You can cover the front cover, back cover, inside covers. Now you know how to create it. So we have learned about how it's best, if we can, not to consume something new, to use old materials to make a gift. We've learned how to do that, and now we want to share. So how do we share this? Well, when you give the gift of your G.O.O.S paper notebook, that person's gonna see it and they're gonna think, oh, that's really cool. Maybe I could do that. All right, so yeah, you share it by giving away your G.O.O.S paper notebook. And that is gonna give the people that you give it to the idea of, hey, maybe I could do this for a gift for somebody. And it can be for birthday or Father's Day, or it can just be a gift for no reason for somebody who likes to sketch and things. So by giving it away and doing it once, and then maybe 6 months from now you can do it again, or maybe you can do it again 1 week from now. Anyways, have fun, and there's lots of other ways and other types of gifts you can make out of old things you have. So put your creative hat on and start doing that. Okay, have fun.